Ladies and gentlemen, the second lecture for today will be delivered by Associate Professor Dr. Siti Zabaedah Binti Zaidin from Universiti Utara, Malaysia, with the topic Sustainability, Creating Share Value, Public Sector Accounting. And I would like to introduce our moderator, Ms. Fauzia Kumalasari, SAMAK. And I will read the curriculum vitae. Ms. Fauzia is a lecturer in Accounting Study Program at Universitas Sumatera Utara with a specialized master's degree in accounting and extensive research experience in financial accounting. Ms. Fauzia is also a certified risk associate, quality assurance system internal auditor, and internal quality control team of the Faculty of Economics and Business. To Ms. Fauzia Kumalasari, SAMAK, the time is yours.
Okay, thanks to Saka who served as the host. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank you, our lecturer for today, the Honorable Associate Professor Dr. Siti Zabaedah Binti Zaidin, for following our invitation. Welcome, Doctor. Thank you to Dr. Rina Bukit, SAMSI AKCA, and Mrs. Risanti, SAMSI AKCA, as the head and the secretary of accounting undergraduate program, and also all participants of today's session. Very warm greeting to all the participants and audience here for this session. I'm more than grateful to stand here and welcome you all to this session. I'm Fauzia Kumalasari. So I'll be walking you through this session. Before we begin this session, I would like to introduce you to our honorable lecturer by reading Dr. Siti CV. Dr. Siti Zabaedah Zaidin is an associate professor in Tunku Putri Intan Safina School of Accountancy, Universiti Utara, Malaysia. Before that, Dr. Siti also a deputy director, Department of Business Strategy and Development, BSD, UUM from 2021 until 2022. And then Dr. Siti obtained her Bachelor of Accounting in Universiti Utara, Malaysia in 1994. Master MSc, MGNT Accounting in Universiti Utara, Malaysia, British Aerospace in 1996. And PhD Accounting and Internal Auditing in University of Sheffield, United Kingdom in 2010. Dr. Siti is also active as a PhD thesis supervisor, researches with many publications in academic journal and conference proceeding, books, paper presentation at seminar and conference, consultant, training, discussion, and invited speaker, reviewer for PhD or master thesis, and then services at national or university, college, or faculty level. And now we are going to listen to Dr. Siti talk about sustainability, creating share value public sector. The time is on your hand, Doctor.
Right. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillah sadri wa yassir amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you, our moderator for today, Fauzia Kumalasari. Okay, thank you for the introductory part. Right. But before that, can I share my slide? Is it possible? You allow me to share my slide? Because I'm not going to use the slide that I share with Dr. Sambas just now.
Okay.
All right. Is it okay now? I try. Here I think. Okay. Right. First of all, before I start my sharing, it's not a presentation for me. I guess it's about sharing, the topic that given to me, by Faculty of Economy and Business. So I would like to thank FEB, USU, Universitas Sumatera Utara, okay, for inviting me to share some thoughts about sustainability, value creation, and public sector accounting. So when I first got this title or this topic, so it seems to me that there are three different terms that I need to be able to link or to relate to each other. And these three terms, they are very general. Sustainability is a very broad. You can talk anything about sustainability. Okay, value creation. Okay, and next, public sector accounting. Many things under the public sector accounting. So, macam mana saya nak buang benda dia? I want to remove this. Wait, dia ganggu. Okay, right. Okay, so have been introduced just now, right? So I think most of the audience for today is undergraduate students. So if you look at this photo perhaps, what you can see, because this is related to our topic today. Okay, what you can see an earth, right? Okay, so from the earth here, the photo of the earth, you can see perhaps you can see Indonesia, I can see Malaysia, okay, and that one is the Sumatra Island, right? Okay, and this one I am not sure which continent is this, but basically these are the part of the world that we live today. Now we exist in the world, right? So how does this relate to the topic today? Yeah, right. So before I share further about our topic today, I want to explain about how I divide my sharing, okay, for this international summer course 2023. So first, I would like to highlight few things about life, and then about the sustainability, and the third one is value creation, and the last one is about a public sector accounting. How does this relate together? Okay, so here in my slide here, you can see that I wrote here your dream life. Okay, these are the life that we dream. We want to go for holiday, crystal clear sea. Okay, you can see the bottom of the sea. Okay, from this fantastic island, not fantastic island. Okay, next, perhaps those who are like mountains. Yeah, they like a lake and mountains. Okay, maybe one day you want to be here. Okay, and if you are more adventurous, you may go up the mountain or the hill. Okay, and some of you might be interested to dive into the sea, deep into the sea. Okay, you enjoy the scuba diving, seeing the sea life, right? So maybe this is one of your future dream, or perhaps you also have done this in your, maybe last year, last month, I don't know your background. Okay, but these are the world that we live in, all of us. And some people, they like to go away, okay, away from the normal lifestyle. So you like to go for hiking, see the mountains, and some of you like the forest, more to jungle. Okay, you want to see more greeny areas, right? And you can embark on the jungle trekking. Yeah, you can go for jungle trekking. So these are the world that we live in today. And some of you might like the safari, the wildlife. Okay, you can see here the giraffe is in the wildlife. So these are among the photos that we can see or we can experience now. Yeah, in our life now. Okay, maybe at your age, you still young, at the age of perhaps I don't know which semester you are in, which year you are in, maybe 20, 21, 22. Okay, and I have been living in this world on the planet for how many years? many years. Okay, some of you like the food, okay, right? And maybe some of you like to just stay in the big cities, right? So these are the environment that we have now. In 2000, now is 2023, right? But in reality, not all the things that we see are very beautiful. Not the things we see are very nice. Yeah? Some, they are quite frustrating. For example, you can see that people are homeless. No proper house to stay. Okay? And some people, they are hunger, not enough food to eat. And also pollution. Rubbish everywhere. In the sea, in the river. And also affected the sea life. So this is reality as well. This is our world today. Okay? And the pollution. The air pollution from the plant, factory, manufacturing, and also from everyday life. We need to commute. Okay, everybody need to commute. You go to shops, you go to work, you go to school, you go everywhere, right? So we have a commit to the pollution through the carbon emission. And perhaps one day our earth, our world will become like this. It can happen if we don't actually take a good care of our earth, our world. Yeah. So this might happen in the future. Maybe now some part of the world have experienced this environment. Okay, this kind of a scenery. And we don't want in the future to wear things like this, to dress up with mask on our face. We don't want this to happen to us and also to the younger generation, the future generation. Yeah, hopefully we don't need to do this. But if we are not careful enough, this will happen to the future generation. Okay, because we are talking about sustainability. Yeah, sustainability is very broad a concept. Right. So what is the future that we want to be? So we are hoping that in the future, everything is nice, everything is fast, everything is superb. Yeah. So we are living in a very fast moving environment. Okay. And everything is on our fingertips. We just touch and everything will happen. And the use of AI, artificial intelligence, not to say in the future, currently also we have used AI in our world. For example, if you like to cook, you may have the, what we call it, Thermomix. That is kind of AI for cooking. And then if you have, nowadays the viral one is the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not for writing purposes only, but it can also help you for the interior design. ChatGPT ID, and it can also help you for developing your PowerPoint. Yeah, many things. So you can use the artificial intelligence. This, I think, in the future it might be more advanced than what we have in today's life, right? And we are hoping that to live peacefully, still. Although we are in the future, we still have this green scenery, green environment around us. So we are hoping that in the future, if you can live up to 90 years old, maybe you want to have a small lake by your home, yeah, and at the same time you have all those AI to help you to move faster in your daily activities. Okay. So we don't want this to happen to our earth. Okay, from the green side to the dry side, to the nothing. Okay, so what we need to do? So from now on, everybody must have the knowledge about how to take care of our world. So in other words, how to sustain the living of the future generation. So let's look at the look at the vision in the world. So we have this, the World Vision 2050. So do you aware that we have already this vision? So it is hope that everybody, every nation have the awareness of the World Vision 2050, what we want to achieve in 2050. Okay, so I want to share with you this slide. Sorry, this is a small, not small, short video, yeah. Okay, just 2-3 minutes. This is about the Vision 2050.
We want a world where 9+, maybe 10 billion people will all live well within the boundaries of the planet.
Vision 2050, it's a common narrative by the business community, by the members of the World Business Council on how the future should be so that it is more sustainable.
The Vision 2050 project gives us a really great opportunity to work out what role business has. We know what the document said 10 years ago. What should it say now?
10 years have slipped on, but we need to now look at Vision 2050 again, and we need to move to a society that is more human-centered.
When WBCSD set out Vision 2050 10 years ago, there was no Paris Accord and climate agreement. The Sustainable Development Goals hadn't been set yet.
There were many things we didn't see coming. We didn't predict the sort of nationalization of politics, artificial intelligence, and we didn't predict social impacts around jobs with automation, the rise of the robots.
In Montreux, companies had the chance to dive into the details of the regional vision and explore the key elements that we should explore as part of a refresh.
The very transparent, challenging and honest nature of the discussions that were had around the development of Vision 2050 provided real insights, sometimes shocking insights for companies.
The first reflection is how much the world has changed in the energy space. It has been disrupted by new technologies.
The economic system, the regulation, the business as usual obsession needs to radically change.
Everyone agreed that we had come a long way in the last 10 years. I see an opportunity for companies who want to provide nature-based solutions that will address our climate challenges in a totally new way.
Wait, stop.
What came out is clearly a call for a people-centered perspective, which was raised actually not only in our session, but across discussions in sectors and systems. So highlighting the need for what we call a fair, inclusive and aspirational vision for the future.
Companies can get involved in Vision 2050 by stepping up and joining the project.
I think it's a great opportunity because it's going to help companies rethink what is their strategy for 2030. And what is more important is that it's a shared pathways.
What we really need is an action agenda for business 2020 to 2030. We believe that if your company participates, it will help you set the agenda for your business. It will really help us understand system transformations and what are the barriers we must overcome.
So basically, if we look at the video just now, the short video from the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, you can see that they are making a move, okay, towards the Vision 2050, and they're focusing more on the business or the companies in order to save the earth or the world, okay? And actually, it started in 2010. Yeah, first introduced in 2010 by the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. And after 10 years, okay, they realized that the vision doesn't move anywhere. Although they have the Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement is something to do with climate change and limiting the global warming. They set up a limit of how, not to say how, of to what extent that global warming is allowed, okay, into 2050. And also the Sustainable Development Goals, 2030. So based from their discussion, said that they know that they need to do something. WBCSD need to do something to foster the Vision 2050. So they set up what we call it improvement, okay, improvement, and set a new baseline. So it's called 2050 Time to Transform. Okay, so the Vision 2050 set a shared vision of the world in which more than 9 billion people are able to live well. Not only to live, but to live well with planetary boundaries by 2050. So within our planet, we don't have to go to Neptune, Zuhal, yeah, within our planet boundaries, we can live well, okay, by 2050. Okay, and also the Vision 2050 transform maps how system transform and lays out the new framework to guide business. Yeah, it's more towards the business action in a decade ahead. So there are 9. If you look at this circle here, there are 9 pathways. Yeah, 9 elements here, starting from the energy, transportation, mobility, living spaces, product and materials, financial products, services, connectivity, health and well-being, water and sanitation, and food. Although there are 9, okay, pathways, this vision and transformation align with the SDG. So when we talk about sustainability, you cannot omit the SDG. So you need also to understand what is SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So this is a popular term that everybody talks about. Okay, in whatever you do, you have to relate to the SDG. So we will look at next is the SDG. But before that, we want to show that here, this the category, yeah, from the energy and materials, life, society, and individual. So this we have to make sure by 2050, the individual are happy, yeah, they have the happiness, their health is taken care of. And in terms of the society, how about the economy of the society, the culture that they uphold of the society, and then the life, yeah, the species, the water species, the wildlife, okay, and the ecosystem, yeah, about the life, and also the energy and materials. Energy and materials now is finite, it's not infinite, meaning that they will, in the future, they will gone. We have no more energy, we have no more material. We have empty world. Yeah, it can happen, right? So that's why the Vision 2050 put some pathway so that everybody alert about what we need to do in order to maintain a future living well for the young generation. Okay, so before we can actually arrive to the 2050 vision, we need the one that is nearer to, which is the Agenda 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This is created by the United Nations. Okay, so from today, there are only 7 years to go, yeah, for the 2030, and the major thing will happen to me in 2030 if I'm still alive. I will be retired in 2030. Wow. So it's very very much okay, near to my heart, 2030. Okay, it's about 7 years to go from today. So what happened? Yeah, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Okay, so it's adopted by all nations member states in 2015. So they started in 2015. Okay, meaning that 2010 they have this Vision 2050. Then after that, after 5 years, they have developed the 2030 agenda to foster the Vision 2050. So 2030 agenda provide a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. So meaning that we are taking care about the people and also the planet, the prosperity of both. Because if we have people only, where the people will live? And if we have the planet only, what will happen to the planet? So we need both, people and planet. Okay, so under the SDG, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, 17 altogether, which are urgent call and need to be adopted by all countries, whether they are developed countries or developing countries. So this is we call global partnership. So everybody must work hand in hand, to recognize the strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, spur the economic growth, and tackling the climate change, and also working to preserve our oceans and forests. We have seen many bad things that happen to our oceans and forests if you don't actually take a good care of our ocean and forests. So these are the 17 SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So you can see here, and it is very popular. Everybody must know about this 17 SDG, and you need to know where you are. Okay, maybe we are here in the quality education. For university, we are achieving the SDG number 4. Yeah, okay. We have no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, so on and so forth, as you can see here. So if you are a lecturer, you are doing a research or publication, make sure that you map your area of interest in one of these, at least one of these SDG. If you have more than one, it's good. At least you can map your research interest into one of these SDG. Okay. Right. So that's what the future holds for us. The Vision 2050 and the Agenda 2030, which is very near to us. Right. So now we come to the main part of the sharing for this afternoon. Okay, the sustainability. So what is sustainability is actually about? Okay, because this is a very broad concept. So sustainability is the ability to exist and develop without depleting natural resources for the future. So we want to sustain what we have today. Yeah, what we have today, we have to make sure that it still exists, yeah, and can develop and can be used by the future generation, especially by our young generation, like the students. Yeah, students, you are now still young. So in future, 30 years from now, you are still young. You maybe perhaps you're just 50 plus, or perhaps you're just at my age. Yeah, so you need to do a lot in order to ensure that at that time, your life is still like what we have here today. Otherwise, you will be suffering a lot. Yeah. Otherwise, we have to wear mask every day, every night. But now also we have to wear mask somehow during the COVID-19. Yeah, and some places they are still wearing the face mask. Right. So by definition, yeah, sustainability refers to the ability to meet the current needs of society without compromising the future. And in 1987, the UN Brundtland's Commission defined sustainability as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So meaning that if we have trees, don't cut the tree just because we want to use the trees to produce papers, because we need to make sure that if we cut one tree, we need to ensure we plant more trees. Yeah, so that the world can sustain. They have enough green environment. They have enough trees. Why we need trees? Source of oxygen. You imagine you have no trees, no oxygen. How are people going to live in the world without oxygen? Yeah. So that is very important. Okay, so this is the popular one, the 3 pillars of sustainability. where we have the environment, social, and economics. Some of the informal definition, they use a planet, people, and profits. So it depends, yeah. But the normal we use the environment, social, and economic. So environmental is related to the planet, okay, where environmental protection is very important in terms of reduction of carbon footprints, water usage, non-decomposable packaging, and wasteful process as part of supply chain. So now our packaging, we use this compostable, yeah, compostable, where it can be easily absorbed by the soil, yeah. Okay, next one is social, where it related to people, where we have here social development, treating employees fairly and ensuring responsible, ethical, sustainable treatment of employees, stakeholders, and the community in which business operates. Means here that you need to make sure that the people work in the business environment, they have a fair treatment. So if they need, for example, if they need maternity leave, you have to allow them. In the UK, the maternity leave, they can provide to you up to 1 year. You can go up for your maternity leave for 1 year. After 1 year, your baby is big already, old already, you can come back and continue your job. That's what we have in the UK. But in Malaysia, maternity leave for the public sector servants, maximum is 3 months up to 4 or 5 kids. I'm not sure the new ruling, yeah, because I'm not involved with a maternity leave. Okay, so these are the things that need to be paying attention as well. And the third pillar is about economic. Economic is probably is more simple, yeah, because it is related to the profit. So to be sustainable, business must be make sure that they can sustain their business and making profit. So after COVID, we can see that many of the businesses, they cannot sustain. They have to close operation. I have one of my PhD student from China. Before COVID, he was a businessman. He was a businessman before COVID. He owns his own factory. But during the COVID, his business affected and he need to close down his factory. So now he's just joined the PhD program, becoming a PhD student. So cannot sustain. Okay, so these are the 3 pillars of sustainability. Right. So why sustainability is important in today's world? Okay, I'm talking about sustainability in general. Yeah, it's not specifically to public sector yet. It's about sustainability in general, because the initiative or the effort made all this while are focusing on the private sector, on the companies, on the businesses. Yeah, businesses, they urge the companies, the business to take part in the sustainability program. So sustainability has benefit from the entire world with the reduction of carbon footprints and the amount of toxins and pollutants released to the environment. So we are hoping that companies, businesses can help in reducing this toxin in our environment. Okay, and as we see the effect of climate change, okay, taking hold, it is more important than ever to seek sustainable solution, not only to create a cleaner and healthier world, but also potentially prevent catastrophic changes in the environment in the future. So now also we can see that sometimes the climate has changed. This is not a season of rainy season, but suddenly you have the raining. Okay, so this also happened in Malaysia, where out of nowhere suddenly you have rains. And when it's supposed to be dry, then it's not dry, and when it's supposed to be wet, and it is not wet. So it will affect the farmers, for example, the paddy field farmers. So paddy, they are relying on the rain, for the paddy to grow. So this environment need to be taken care of so that it will provide food security for the people. Okay, and next, what are the example of sustainable practices? Okay, so there are varieties of sustainable practices that individuals or businesses can employ. So common everyday practice we can employ including recycling, so we can reduce the carbon emission. So we cycle to work, cycle to college, cycle to market, cycle to everywhere. And then we can reduce the wasting of food, okay, the resources. We have renewable energy, using eco-friendly household, cleaning products, and also sharing and donating items. So there are big companies that do all these sustainable practices. So if you can see, here are the examples of sustainable practices. The renewable energy use, creating environmentally friendly products. Okay, there are a lot of friendly products now, recycling and waste reduction. So there are, in Malaysia, we have a lot of what you call it, area, designated area where we can cycle our things, bottles, clothes, papers, boxes, glasses, anything. Okay, and we are paying, okay, and we get money when we recycle our garbage or our rubbish. Okay? We can get money. And also using sustainable packaging. So I think this one is popular nowadays, where all the packaging are sustainable. And if you have products, established products, for example, cosmetic, you can see from their boxes, they are using sustainable packaging. So that is safe to the environment. Fleet conversion, okay, composting, ethical sourcing, you get a source from ethical places, sustainable supply chain management, employee care, and also corporate social responsibility. I would like to draw your attention on this CSR. CSR is a term that I think is not new term. It's a long, quite sometimes the companies has been used this CSR. CSR is a practice used by big companies to help people and also to help the planet as well. Okay, so we will look at it later. Right. Okay, so we as an individual, what we can do? Easy ways to incorporate sustainability into everyday life. So you can bring sustainability into your own life by being a conscious consumer. Okay, we as an individual, we have to have this awareness of how to ensure the sustainable development of our own country or our own place. Yeah. Okay, so looking at the sustainability practices of the business you can buy from, and demanding better practices is a direct way to bring sustainability into your life. Okay. Okay, there are other things you can do, such as not using plastic bags. This is our daily life. Yeah, when you go to Lotus, you bring your own plastic bag, the recycle plastic bag or whatever recycle bag. Okay, for your shopping, use paperless. Nowadays, for example, my students, if they submit their work, I don't ask them to print, just submit in PDF form. Okay, so we can reduce the use of paper. We are going towards paperless. Yeah, avoiding single-use items. Okay, so whatever items we can use more than once. Eco-friendly cleaning products. Okay, cleaning products is I think one of the highly toxic material around us, near to us. Every day you use detergent for washing your clothes, for washing your plates, for washing your floor, whatever. Okay, so all this, if you don't actually select the one that is eco-friendly, then all others are more toxic. So once you go for shopping, try to look for eco-friendly cleaning products. And if you are affordable, find the organic. Okay, try to switch whatever product to use you use to organic products. Organic chicken, organic cosmetic, organic cleaning products. I try as much as possible to use organic. I am the one who support this sustainability development. Okay, I use organic. One reason is to support the sustainable development, and another reason is because I have a sensitive skin. There is another reason. Okay, reducing food waste. Food waste. I think during Ramadan for Muslim, a lot of food waste, because when we buy, we tend to buy everything. We feel like we can eat everything during the breaking fast, but then actually it is not. So we need to try to reduce the food waste and sharing items with your neighbors, as well as reusing, recycling, and donating unwanted items. So these H&M companies, they have this kind of recycling clothes where you can hand over your old clothes, regardless of whatever their shape. You can hand over to them and they will recycle. Or you can donate unwanted items. If you have a lot of things, a lot of what we call it, pre-love, okay, you can share the unwanted items. You can share with your friends, or you can share those who can need it, or those who can use it later. Okay. Lemak. Okay, right. So, okay, that is among the things that we as an individual, as a student, can help, in terms of the sustainability of our planet in general. Okay. So, how does sustainability impact to our health and well-being? This is the most important part. Why? Because if we are living in the world, but we have mental illness, what is the point of living? Yeah, so it is estimated that in 2030, the second highest so-called disease is mental illness. One of the report I read. Yeah, the second highest disease is mental illness. So we have to make sure that we really taking care, very good care of our mental. Not to say in 2013, now already you can see. For example, students, there are news in newspapers that some of the undergraduate students, they commit suicide. They kill themselves. They jump from the bridge. Why? Okay. One of the things, not only to sustain the world, the planet, you need to sustain your mental as well. Yeah, mental health. Okay. Because when your environment is good, then your mental also, inshallah, will be good. But if your environment is disaster, then your mental will be affected seriously. So promoting sustainability help create the better environment in which we can thrive, while also conserving resources for future generations. So social justice and high quality of life can be enjoyed by people in the future. Okay, so mental health is not waiting for the future to happen. Now, starting from now, you have to take a good care of your mental and physical health. Previously, we can say that in the hospitals, there are a lot of old people, 60 plus, 70 plus. But now, if you go to the hospitals, okay, whether the private hospital or government hospital, you can see younger people, okay, contribute to the becoming the patient of the hospitals. Why? Because younger people, they don't actually taken care of what they eat, the food that they eat. Okay, the chemical that they use. For example, ladies, you like to use face cream. Sorry, guys, ladies, you like to use face cream, and then the viral one, you don't know the material, you don't know the source of the cream, and then you just buy and put it on your face. What will happen? It will not affect your skin now, but it will affect your health maybe after 20 or 30 years. Okay, you may get cancer, for example. Yeah. So that's why it's very important to ensure that you are taking of your health and physical and mental health carefully. Okay. Right. So that is all about generally about sustainability. Sustainability, as I mentioned to you, is a broad concept. You can look into different perspective, types of sustainability. I didn't share about types of sustainability because there are a lot of types of sustainability. So you can read on your own if you want to venture more about sustainability. So what I want to draw your attention next, okay, the second part is the important terms that are related to sustainability. If you say sustainability, if you think about sustainability, you cannot forget about this. You cannot forget about sustainable development goals. You cannot, okay, omit the corporate social responsibility, CSR. And another new thing, not to say new, but currently people are looking at this, the environmental, social, and governance, ESG. So ESG is becoming more popular now. Yeah, because the sustainability, people have talked a long time ago, okay, the SDG, CSR, and now we are moving towards the ESG. But although we are looking at the ESG, we cannot take it, what we call it, in isolation. We have to relate, to connect all these terms together. So let's see how does it relate to each other. Okay, so ESG, CSR and sustainability. How do they, what we call it, differ, okay, from each other? So basically, sustainability is a broader concept. Okay, it's a broader concept where CSR is activities or program that companies do in order to promote sustainability, in order to achieve the sustainable development. CSR, through CSR programs. And now we have the ESG. Okay, we have the G there, environment, social, and governance. Okay, so ESG is more to quantitative, while CSR is more to qualitative. Qualitative means that they are more towards the program that they handle. Yeah, they do plugging, yeah. They do donation to poor people. They help to clean up the poor people's house or environment. Okay, and sustainability, it can combine a combination of both. Yeah? It can be qualitative and also quantitative. Okay, because for quantitative, you can look at the numbers of the CO emission, carbon dioxide emission, or the number of the degree of climate change. Yeah? The qualitative aspect is about the life of the people, the animals, yeah, the plant. And ESG is externally regulated, okay, meaning that the regulation comes from external, while CSR is self-regulated. CSR, it depends on the company. They want to do it, they do it. If they don't want to do it, doesn't matter. No one regulate them. So it's self-regulated. But ESG, there's other outside governing body that look into this ESG. Okay. And sustainability is both, both self and externally regulated. So we have these many documents related to sustainability. Next, directly related to business valuation. So when ESG is quantitative, meaning that we can measure. Okay, quantitative, we can measure, put it in measurement. While CSR is not directly related to business evaluation. So it doesn't count for profit. Profit is not related to the profit of the company. It's more towards the value. Then we will talk about value creation after this. Okay, CSR. And sustainability is often related to business valuation. Okay, and next is ESG implemented through measurable goals and audits, meaning that you can measure to what extent your ESG. Yeah, okay. And then you can audit whether you have achieved that ESG or not. The three perspectives, environment, social, and governance. They are the indicators. While the CSR is implemented through corporate culture, values, and brand management. So it can become the culture for the business, okay, to have this CSR program. Some big businesses, big companies, is normal for them to have this CSR. But the medium and the small is quite difficult to find. Yeah, programs that related to CSR. But nowadays they are moving towards that, although the SMEs. And sustainability implemented through a combination of CSR and ESG. So basically they are related. Yeah, CSR, ESG, they are related to sustainability. Okay, if you want to have a ESG, first we have to have CSR. If you don't do CSR, how come you want to measure your environment, social governance? Yeah, so it is interrelated. And some authors, they say that ESG and CSR are interchangeable. So sometimes they just focus on ESG, and sometimes they are focusing only on CSR. So if researchers or anybody who are interested to look at more the quantitative, the more that you can measure, so they will look at the ESG. Okay, and if you are more towards the value creation, the values, okay, the shared values of the companies, they will look at the CSR. At the end of the day, we will achieve the sustainability. That is the hope. Okay, it's done now. Right. Okay. So this diagram show how the CSR and ESG relate to each other. So the goal is CSR is a idealistic, big picture perspective on sustainability. So they want to help people, they want to help the nation, the public, yeah, corporate social responsibility. Whereas the ESG is more to measure, measurement, practical, detail-oriented perspective on sustainability. So this one is mentioned already in the just now. Okay, so basically the one that I explained just now, if you can look at this diagram, very simple diagram. So sustainability is like an umbrella. Okay, it's wide, a broader concept. It's like an umbrella where under the sustainability you may have the CSR. The CSR is the precursor of the ESG, meaning that you have to have CSR first, then only you can measure. You have to do something to add value, something about the social, something about the environment. Then only you can measure using various tools. Yeah. So when it comes to measurement, you can use the term ESG. Okay. Right. So this is how we map the ESG factors to the 17 SDGs. Okay. Okay, you can see here, the green one is the environment, blue is social, and the navy is governance. So, end poverty is related to social. Zero hunger, social. Good health and well-being, there are two here. It's related to environment and social. Why environment? Because if you are living in a very dirty surrounding, then how are you going to have a good health? Yeah, it will affect your well-being. So the social life, okay, a quality education is related to the social and governance. You see, very interesting. Where the governance of the university, for example, is very important to ensure that they are sustained. Okay. For example, a program. If you don't have a proper governance, the program might not be sustained in the future. Then you have to stop that particular program. In our university, there are some of the program we have to stop because it's not sustained anymore. We cannot get students for that particular program. Yeah, as an gender and equality, it is under social and governance. Clean water and sanitation is under the environment and social. Affordable and clean energy is under the environment and social. Do we have three? No, yes, we have one. Responsible consumption and production, where it is related to the environment, social, and also governance. Meaning that whatever consumption that is involved, we need to make sure that related to the environment, the social, okay, and also how you manage the company that is responsible for the consumption and production. So more to manufacturing. Climate action is more towards the environment and governance. Life below water, environment. Life of land, environment. Okay, the rest I cannot see. And then we have peace, justice, and strong institution. And we have partnership for goals. Partnership for goals is related to governance. How you govern the country, how you govern your organization. So those who are doing on governance, you are related to the SDG number 17. Okay. Right. Okay, the next part of this sharing session today, this afternoon, is the value creation. So value creation, when we talk about sustainability, of course, okay, there are value that we can create from taking a good care of something, of our planet, of ourselves, of our environment, yeah, of people around us. Yeah. So what is value creation? So value creation basically is the starting point, yeah, for every business, small scale or large scale, any business. So when you have a business, you want to sell something, you must have some values, right? Yeah, it entails making product and providing services that customers find consistently useful. Yeah, your product must be useful, consistently useful. Not the first time you buy the product, it's okay, but the next time it's not okay. So there's no value creation there, okay? It is a product or service that they build a bond of loyalty with. Do we actually loyal to one brand? Ask yourself. I am the person who is loyal to one brand. If it is good brand, I will not change. Yeah. So value creation is very important for customers, for users. So value creation refers to giving out something of worth to receive something of higher worth. You give something good, you want to get something better, yeah, higher worth. Okay, for example, if you baking cakes, yeah, to sell, you might make them more valuable by adding chocolate chips. You add a topping, yeah, you add a colorful whatsoever on top, so that it can help you to make more sales. So it's a value creation. So that's why nowadays, if you see the products, yeah, they pack it in such a way that they put in a very nice box, very cute boxes, you know, very colorful, and we have this what we call it, a paper bag, a very nice paper bag that people want to get it and keep it for future use. Yeah, so that is the value creation as well. So to create long-term value, organization need to put in place the infrastructure, capability, and relationship, the tangible and also intangible asset that enable them to meet the needs of their customers and stakeholders. So at the end of the day, what we need to ensure is our stakeholders, yeah, customers. Okay, customers is one type of stakeholders. So there's one popular terms also that is related to sustainability, but I didn't share today. It's about stakeholders engagement. It's very interesting part, stakeholders engagement, where whatever program you have, whatever mission, whatever vision, you must make sure that you involve your stakeholders. Who are your stakeholders? You need to understand. This is another section. If you are interested, I can share with you about stakeholder engagement. It's another broader aspect as well, okay, which is related to sustainability. All right, next. We want to focus on public sector, the value creation in the public sector, yeah, because my area of interest is public sector. But before we can actually jump into public sector, we have to look at what we currently have, yeah, in the research field. What we currently have is related to the businesses. Okay, so we want to focus on value creation, value creation in the public sector. So before this, we kind of have no constraint about time or resources. We have ample time, we have ample resources, yeah. But now we are living in the age of increasing organizational complexity. Organization becoming more complex, okay. and none more so that in the public sector, where there are some of the largest reporting entities in the world. Public sector, they form the largest organization, we can say, because the structure is different from country to country. It depends on a specific country or specific context. So there are more and more demands for scrutiny and transparency to demonstrate the effect use of resources and value for money. So one thing we need to bear in mind is that in public sector, or perhaps the government, they are using public money. What is public money? Public money is taxpayers' money. What is taxpayers' money? Money collected from the people. I am paying the tax. You are paying the tax. All the lecturers are paying the tax. The students also, you are paying the tax when you eat the fast food at McD or Starbucks or whatsoever. Yeah. So all those money, okay, we pay to the government, it become the public money. So the government, for your information, just for your information, yeah, transition means greening the economy in a way that is as fair and inclusive as possible to everyone concerned, creating decent work opportunities and leaving no one behind. So we aim in 2050, we are bringing everybody, 9 million people, 9 billion people together in a decent work opportunities. Net zero means achieving a balance between the carbon emitted into the atmosphere and the carbon removed from it. The balance or net zero will happen when the amount of carbon we add to the atmosphere is no more than the amount removed. Meaning that whatever is by your vehicle or by the factory must be the same as what initiative that you have done to make it to stop the emission or to stop the pollution. So it must be balanced. Balance between the carbon emitted into the atmosphere and the carbon removed from it. How you want to remove the carbon? So this is the initiative that the government have to look into. What time now? 4:30. Okay. So why need sustainability accounting in public sector? Because the global and country level climate change, fragility, and food security require government, social, and infrastructure investment. Government need to invest. Government need to use the taxpayers' money, the public money, to invest on this. So when they use the money, they need to be accountable. They need to show. When they show, they need to do accounting. So that's why we need also sustainability in the public sector accounting. Then the benefit of tracking health spending and public finance management for health were demonstrated during the pandemic, as was the importance of spending transparency. So during the pandemic, COVID-19, governments, I think around the world, have used a lot of resources, particularly money, to cope the disease. So the government need to track the spending on the health of the COVID-19, related to the COVID-19. And the public spending integration with the UN Sustainable Development Goal is necessary to achieve objective and track progress. Okay, so, right. What are the roles the government have to? There are two roles. So first and uniquely, it must create an effective policy and regulatory environment. So public sector organization, they must have their own policy and regulatory environment, setting for agenda and creating the right incentive for positive change. You must give some kind of incentive so that a positive change can happen. Second, the public sector institution must ensure their own activities evolve to reduce their environmental impact and contribute to meeting sustainability targets, meaning that public sector organization, whatever their activities, must tailored to reduce the environmental impact. For example, procurement, they have to adopt the green procurement. Whatever they buy for government expenses, they have to make sure that they are looking at the green logo. In UUM, we have a study on to what extent the department that use this menthol whatsoever, whether they are using the green product or not. So we have that kind of audit to check. Okay, I'm not sure about USU. Okay, so we have few benefit of embedding sustainability in public sector accounting. First, we can achieve the national development strategy alignment, where you can align the planning implementation to focus on what is critical to individual countries to improve sustainable planning. And then you can look at the citizen well-being embedded in the public policy. Okay, and then the comparability, you can compare the standards, international standard, compare the plans, and also to improve sustainability planning. Okay, compare between countries, what the countries has experienced, what other countries experience. Fiscal spending flexibility. You can tie the fiscal rules to sustainability concept. So whatever rules the government is making, they can tie back to the sustainability concept. And post 2030 sustainability. So it could provide a structure for measuring public sector sustainability investment beyond the SDG. So whatever government invests towards the sustainability, it must be a measure so that we can see not only up to 2030, but beyond 2030. If we have this integrated reporting, then it is possible, okay, to measure beyond 2030. So, okay, now we know that public sector playing their role. They need to play their role, and it is important to embed the sustainability for public sector accounting. So, what initiative has been done related to sustainability in the public sector accounting? So, the World Bank has called on the International Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, IPSASB, to develop sustainability guidance for the public sector. Remember just now I said that public sector needs our own standard. Okay, so IPSASB has developed the sustainability guidance for public sector. Okay, and this is based on the feedback around the world where public sector needs its own specific sustainability reporting framework. What we have is from the private sector. We have the GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, but that one is not enough. We need our own because of the unique nature of the public sector organization. So public sector organization needs a robust framework for sustainability reporting. And the current initiative done by IPSASB is issuing the reporting sustainability program information, amendments to RPGs number 1 and number 3, additional non-authoritative guidance. So this is some of the reporting on sustainability, because we need to have some kind of reporting on sustainability for public sector organization. So this can be immediately applied by governments and public sector entities to report on sustainability program. But in order to adopt this, the person in charge must make sure that they understand. They must go for training, workshop, so that they know how to use this guideline or framework. Okay, so sustainability standard for the public sector will need to be different from those for private sector. We need our own. Public sector, we need our own, which is different from the private sector. Why? Because a public sector finance involves more complexity and has more complicated budget. Public sector, we prepare the budget for the country. Not like company, just for a few branches, you know, something like that. Yeah, but public sector, we are more complex, and hence our budget also more complicated. Accounting and performance management structures also complicated. Okay, next is because it has a greater number of stakeholders in the form of citizens. Citizens also, they have many categories. Maybe they are rich citizens, they are poorer, they are poor. Yeah, compared with business where they have investors. And government have significant regulatory, procurement, taxation powers that affect the sustainability and which need to be accounted for. So many other things or dimensions that need to be put together for the public sector accounting. And there is less capacity in public sector entities than in business to manage the change and the ongoing reporting. And greater differences globally in the way this organization operate means that we don't have enough capacity. Yeah, like the business, they have the capacity to change, to evolve. But in the public sector or the government sector, it's not that easy, yeah, to manage the change and ongoing reporting. So recommendation is to have a cross-benefit analysis Okay, to have a simple standards for sustainability reporting, to support low to high capacity government with guidelines for extension, and then sustainability spending resources usage can be embedded in government accounts, and the advanced public finance management practices such as program budgeting, performance management, activity-based costing, and accrual accounting will be helpful in achieving any new sustainability standards. And a number of areas in sustainability reporting will need support from government resource planning system. So example may include the multiple year program and performance budgeting planning, government resource planning, activity-based costing, so on and so forth. So these are among the things that we can embed into the public sector guidelines or standard. Okay, this is a recommendation because the standard is not coming out yet. We are yet to have the standard for public sector sustainability reporting. Okay, so as a conclusion, what I can conclude for today's sharing session is that we assume that resources are finite, meaning that the resources can completely finish. Okay, one day we don't have any resources, no water, no air, no oxygen, nothing. So we need to use conservatively and carefully to ensure that there is enough for future generation without decreasing present quality of life. Meaning that we don't have to wait until 2030 or 2050 to reduce all these waste. We need to act now. Why? Why now? Because we need to use the resources carefully now so that they're still balanced to be used in the future for the young generation, for them to enjoy the quality life as what we're enjoying now. Okay, and the second one that I can conclude is that a sustainable society must be socially responsible, focusing on environmental protection and dynamic equilibrium in human and natural system. So meaning that we, as a human being, we must be responsible to whatever our action. Whether you are driving a car, whether you are writing on a piece of paper, whether you are on the screen, we must be responsible. And we must focus on the environment. And another thing is that we must have the positive mindset. Changing mindset is something difficult, especially for those who are not or who are having not enough educational background. You want to educate people is not as easy as ABC. Yeah, you need time and you need to give them awareness. You need to give them understanding. What will happen in the future if we don't actually taken care of our planet, our Earth? Okay, I think that's all for today. I would like to thank you all for your time to listen to my sharing for today. It's not, I'm not an expert. I just sharing what I know. And I also want to share with you things that I really enjoy in life. I went to ABC last year. Okay, and I like to hike. So that's how I enjoy. And you cannot see this moment or you cannot see this scenery if you don't actually go by yourself to this place. You can see here, of course, the photo, but you cannot actually touch the water. It's very, 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 very extremely cold. But it's very nice view. You have a long waterfall around this mountain. Very nice. Okay, with that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Over to you, our Miss Fadilah. Is it Fadilah? Kumalasari. Sorry if I wrongly pronounce your name. Hello?
Okay, thank you, Miss Siti Zabaedah, for your session. Yeah, maybe we wait for Miss Fauzia because there is something wrong with the connection. So I will take for some time. So if there is a question from our audience, just ask to Miss Siti Zabaedah Saidin, and if any question, you guys can raise hand, or if you want ask from question box, you can follow the format. The format is name underscore university underscore the question. So to the all audience, if you guys have question to our speaker, our lecturer, just raise your hand, or if you want to ask from question box, from chat, you can follow our format, name underscore university underscore the question.
I'm so sorry, Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Thank
okay.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Siti, for giving such an interesting and informative lecture for all the participants. Yes. Wait. Okay. As I can see, there are three keywords or main issue like this that can be raised in the presentation. The first about the sustainability, second about the value creation, and finally in public sector like this. Yes, Doctor. The presentation I think is very comprehensive, and we know sustainability is a very important issue now from SDGs 1 until 17, I think. And we wait the question. Now we come to the Q&A session. For those who have question, please raise your hand by clicking raise hand button. You can directly or type the question in the chat box. And I'm going to read for you. Maybe first question for me, Doctor, about the sustainability in public sector. I think, how does the public sector balance economic development with environmental protection and social well-being? I think.
How the government can balance from the economic development with the environmental issues and also social well-being. Okay, so the government, as we know that the government they need the development. Okay, they need to develop the country. So somehow we need to make sure that everybody got a better life, a better place to live. Okay, so while having this development, you must make sure that the environment and the social is taken care of. It does not affect. So when the government have the development program, so it will affect the social. Positively, they will create works, jobs. Okay. However, to the environment, they have to make sure that whatever program that they do, they must have land study. Okay, they must have feasibility study first to make sure if they want to develop, for example, a new area. So they must study about the composite of the soil of that particular place. So they have a proper documentation about the whole project. So they have to have a master plan. Then only they know what is going to happen in the future regarding that area. And another factor is important is to ensure that they engage the stakeholders. Again, stakeholders engagement is very important. I can recall my experience in the UK when the government of England, they want to abolish the cooling tower. It is an old cooling tower. There are 3 cooling towers. It's very old and it's not used anymore because they have they have convert into a modern cooling tower. So this 3 cooling tower is not being used anymore. So they want to abolish. But before they can take action to abolish, they have various rounds, okay, 2 or 3 rounds of meeting with the stakeholders. First, they make an announcement. Then they make a town hall meeting with the stakeholders, with the people around, with the community, with the public, the taxpayers, okay. And the third one is they send out what we call it invitation if we want to if we disagree about their project. Yeah. So stakeholders engagement is very important in order to ensure that whatever development done by the government is balanced. Yeah. The impact towards the environmental and also the social. That is the only way. You cannot simply, okay, I have money, I want to develop this area. No, cannot be like that. Meaning that you have to have a proper study. Invite the lecturers or whatever people, researcher, do a research, do a field study to get to know what are the impact. That is how the developed country, they develop their area. For example, again, because I live in UK for 3 years, so I know a little bit about their approach. They don't simply build how to say housing apartment or houses. They don't simply build. They have to make sure that if there is an old building or old houses, they have to make sure that they identify this old building first, and they refurbish or they abolish that houses, and then they build up a new one on that particular area as well. They don't go to other new areas. No. That's why there in the UK, they have enough houses for all the population. If you are poor, don't worry. You can stay at the council house. The government will provide house for the poor. But we are a developing country. We are not at that level yet. In fact, in Malaysia, we have a lot of areas where they build up new houses, new development for the housing, the property. And yet, people just buy that property and then just for having a homestay or just for rent. Meaning that people in Malaysia have more than one house. They have many houses. So it will create unbalanced situation. So a proper study, stakeholder engagement is crucial. Am I answering your question?
Okay, Doctor. The impact is not economic, but environmental and society like this.
Yeah.
Because if we talk about the government, it's a general issue like this. There are many organizations, yes, an agency, and there are many policy, yes, policy and to dependent about the SDGs about this, I think, and in many countries it's a different from others like this. Okay, any question?
I think in Malaysia, our government, especially the local government, we are moving towards the ESG reporting. Yeah, we are moving towards that, but it's slow. In fact, our local government in Malaysia, they have this kind of sustainability kind of they assess the sustainability practice among the local government, and they give reward in terms of the reward. I think in terms of the ranking, you will be ranked high. I think the point is 5 stars, something like that. So if you achieve less than 5 stars, then you are no good. That is practice among the local government in Malaysia in terms of sustainability.
And you will reward and punishment like this?
No, it's not punishment, but then we encourage. In public sector, we cannot punish because public sector organization, we are not making money. We are not profit oriented, so there's no such punishment. But then we urge the public sector organization to move forward, to to look after your stakeholders. That's why stakeholders engagement is very important. We need the stakeholders to push the government. Yeah, only stakeholders can push the government.
Okay, Doctor.
Yeah.
From the others, any question from participants? You can question directly. You can click the raise hand.
I cannot hear you. You mute yourself. Fauzia, you mute yourself.
Okay, Doctor. Yes. Any question?
I think this question is quite difficult for the undergraduate.
Yeah, sustainability is, I think it's undergraduate.
No, because
No.
undergraduate, they thought that sustainability is nothing to do with them. But actually, it's very important because you are the young people that will live longer, inshallah. So you need to start now. Make sure whatever your action is towards the sustainable of the world. Not only Indonesia, not only the country, the world.
About the value creating, I like, yeah. Yeah, value creating in governance. It's I think it's difficult, but because the oriented is not the profit like this. Yes, it's any about the society and environmental like this. Yes, we talk about value creating.
Yeah, that is the difference between the public sector and the private sector. For businesses, the value creation you can obviously see from the profit they're making. But for public sector, how you want to measure the value they are creating?
Yeah.
So one thing is you can see from the less corruption happen. Yeah, less corruption, less wastage of resources, the proper usage or the efficiency and effectiveness of the programs handled by the government. That is how that we can create value, adds value to the government activities. Meaning that whatever government program activities must tie up to the SDG goal, SDG, and also what the public the impact to the public, what the public get. That is how we create the value in the public sector organization. Because after all, who cares? Do you really care what the government report in their financial statement or in the annual report? I think public, not because if because of they are not taking public sector accounting with me, they don't bother to read the public sector financial statement. But because they have to study for exam, so they have, whether they like it or not, they have to follow. So value creation is quite subjective in the public sector. So that's why we need to carefully mold it and have a proper standard for public sector. That's why we need our own standard. Now, we don't have the standard yet, just a process. Not a proper standard like what we have for the private sector.
Okay, Doctor. I think another question. I can read. Hello, Dr. Siti. I'm Alisa from USU. I would like to ask, how does the public sector integrate sustainability principle into its policy and practice? Thank you.
Okay, how does the public sector integrate sustainability principle into its policies and practices? Okay, so first, the public sector, they will have this kind of what we call it shared value. They have a shared value where when they write their shared value in their annual reports, for example, they have to ensure that they integrate the sustainability, what they want to achieve. So it depends on the nature of the public sector organization. For example, we have the public sector organization which is related to food security, which is related to the transportation, related to the health, related to education. So they have to map. Yeah, that's why they need to know the nature of organization map with the SDG. Which SDG is related to their nature of organization. Okay, and then public sector integration sustainability principle, policies and practices. Okay, yeah. So they can come up with their own policies and they can practice that. Okay, so it depends on the uniqueness of the public sector organization by themselves. Okay, so I didn't bring the take the caption of any of the policies. So the policies, the public sector organization, they can create by themselves. For example, the policy that for education, we want to have like a Ministry of Higher Education. We want to embark on the Master of Sustainability. That is also one of example of the policy by one of the public sector entities. Yeah, so it depends. Like the food security agencies, so they can include in their policies that how they want to make sure that all the agencies under the food security have a specific program to ensure that, for example, rubber, they have enough rubber for next 10 years or 20 years. Yeah, so that is the policy that they can include in their organization. Okay. Okay, next one is
yes. I would like to ask you about, can you give me some examples of sustainability initiative implemented by governance agency at local, regional, or nation level? Thank you, Dr. Siti.
Okay, right. So at national level, now we are looking at, for example, the electric car. Yeah, electric car. So now the government of Malaysia also starting to give reduced tax, yeah, to the electric cars. So this is one way that we want to support the sustainable initiative. That is national level. Regional level, if regional level, for example, if in Malaysia is more to the states government. So the states government, they are towards the use of solar energy. Okay, for the plantation. Yeah, we have a kind of it's not rubber, it's a apa tu kelapa sawit, what you call it? Apa ni aku apa? Plantation, yeah, okay. They use the solar to generate electric renewable energy. Okay, and also at state level, they make sure that they clean the cleanliness of the river, where they use the river as the tourism spot. Okay, you can use this small small what we call it's not ship, it's small sampan lah, not sampan, it's small apa, you can use it for tourism. Okay, I don't know how what is the word. Okay, and for local government, at local level, local government, they are more towards the smart cities. Smart cities where when you park, you don't have to what? You don't have to take any parking card whatsoever. It automatic scan your vehicle. Smart cities, yeah. And then whatever document, government document is already at our fingertips. You don't have to take the document. You just scan. Everywhere you go, you want to do any payment just through online. That is how the government try to support the sustainable initiative. There is some examples for government in Malaysia at level local, states, and also federal government.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay.
Okay. Any question? More? You can raise your hand or chat inbox.
If you are students that you are interested in mobility program, you can embark on sustainability project so that you can join the European countries program activities. Yeah, easier to get taking part of this kind of programs which relate to sustainability.
Okay, super. We do waiting and another question. About the public sector, okay, sustainability in public sector or value creating in public sector. Okay, from Kevin, Dr. Siti, I want to ask you a question. How can public sector leaders inspire a culture of innovation, collaboration, and social responsibility among employees and partners? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So you ask how public sector leaders inspire a culture of innovation. So you are talking about the public sector leaders. There's no shortcut way. The public sector leaders, they need to have knowledge. They need to learn. They need to love sustainability. They need to know. So when you are aware that sustainability is very important concept, they need to start to, how to say, to support the culture of innovation, collaboration, and social responsibility among the employees. So public sector leaders, they must instill a kind of program in their organization to ensure that among employees and partners, they have this kind of innovation, collaboration, and also responsibility towards the sustainability. So for example, among employees, maybe they can take once a month, they can go out to serve the public, doing some activities, leisure activities, blogging, yeah, help the poor, okay? And then in terms of the culture of innovation, perhaps you can encourage innovative, what we call it, you can encourage innovative participation and you give awards among the department that come up with a good innovation for the company. That is being done in many organizations. Yeah, culture of innovation. You must reward. There's no shortcut. Okay, for example, for employees, if you want employees to take part, you must award them something, grant them something. Maybe not in terms of monetary, but in terms of appreciation. Okay, appreciation, flexi working hours, things like that. That make people happy to work in that particular organization. Happiness of the employee is very important, and also partners, stakeholders, other stakeholders as well. So when the partner happy, they will collaborate more with us in the future. So partners is very important. For example, I involved in one of the program where this program, we name it as Mekar. Mekar is a program where we help the people, basically the student Form 5 who are taking the SPM. In Malaysia, we call it the CJ Pelajaran Malaysian Education Certificate. So we help them in terms of mathematics and English, but we are focusing on mathematics. So we go to this particular pulau. It's an island. This island, we need to get, to go to this island, we need to go by 2 boats. One boat to Pulau Langkawi Island. The next boat is to Tuba Island. So we are in a team of, I think, 10 lecturers. plus administrative staff. So we go there until now, I think twice. After 3 months, we go the second round. So what we did there is that we have a program where we bring expert to teach them on mathematics to get them prepared for their certificate examination in I think February. So this is a part of our community engagement. So how or where do we get the funding? So we need to find partners. Yeah. So we need to create a proposal, prepare proposal, find partners where partners which are interested to fund this project. So company can do that. Company they have the money. Okay, company they have the money. They don't have problem. But public sector at federal level they don't have much problem. Yeah, it's just that they need partner as a collaborator to get the work things. So normally the government, the public sector organization, they can work with the universities lecturers. Okay, partnership to run those activities for the sustainability initiative. That is based on my experience for Mekah program. It's very interesting. I like all these things. And it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy to go to that particular island. Normally, sustainability is not an easy thing. Yeah? Easy said than done. Okay.
Okay. One more question. I think one more question last.
I hope I have answered you, Kevin.
Yes.
You are all welcome. If you want to do your to pursue your study, master or PhD in Malaysia, if you are interested to do accessibility, who knows?
But especially my expert know is public sector. I think is very general. I don't know very specifically about public sector because I'm in finance. Is a private sector. I think in work experience like this. Yes.
Public sector, the structure of public sector in different countries might be different. Like Malaysia, we are the same like Australia, where we have the federal, and we have the state, and we have the local council. Like in the UK, they are different. In Australia, in US, different. Indonesia, you have province. Yeah, I can't remember. I have 2 or 3 students from Indonesia, but then kabupaten,
Kabupaten, yeah, kabupaten.
Yeah. So the
Provinsi, kabupaten.
Yeah. So in Malaysia, we have if you go at federal level, you can look at the perspective of the federal level. But like me, I am more interested to the government that is the nearest to the public, which is the local government. Local government is just near us. They provide our necessity. Yeah. So it's good that we can help them. For example, helping them to prepare for the ESG reporting. That is one of the way that you can look at for sustainability initiative for the public sector organization.
I think one last question from Windy Astuti is a lecturer in economy regarding of environmental issues such as air pollution. How effective is the implementation of carbon tax as a mechanism to incentivize industry to reduce their carbon emission, and what are the key factors that influence the level of success in achieving pollution reduction target of this policy?
Okay, so this question is really specific to the pollution, environmental issue, and about the carbon tax. So unfortunately, I don't have any data on this. So what I can say is that suppose we hope that when the government provide incentive for the industries, to reduce their carbon emission. We are hoping that all these industries, they will take the opportunity for the incentive. But I don't have the data to say whether it's successful or not. So I think it should be effective, but to what extent, I am not sure. Because I haven't looked at the data. And then key factors that influence the level of success. This can be one of the PhD topic. Factors influence the level of success in achieving pollution reduction targets. So what are the key factors influence the level of success in achieving pollution reduction? I think one of the key factors is the government support, of course, through the incentive. I think not only incentive, but maybe through the stakeholders engagement as well, what the employees can get from this policy, and how we can reduce the carbon emissions by the factory, so that the government maybe can work with other collaborators to come up with a tools that can detect, that can give alarm when there is a carbon emission by the industries. Things that can help the industries to ensure that they don't exceed the carbon emission to the air. I think these are among the things. Apart from the top management support, the government incentive, the change of attitude, the most important thing, I think, is quite difficult to achieve for the industries is because of they are profit oriented. They don't care about other things. What I care is money, money, money. So how to educate this money matters? So we need to encourage. I think the government need to have a proper program, because it's quite difficult. We are talking about accountability. Until now, we cannot resolve the problem of corruption. I think the same goes with these environmental issues. The awareness, changing mindset is the most crucial factors that can curb this emission problem, carbon emission. Key factors, apart from the incentive, the what we call it, the behavioral aspect, the responsibility, the behavioral aspect, because otherwise companies, they are looking at profit only. I think that is my opinion.
Okay, Doctor. Next question from Tasnim from UUM. Regarding of environmental issue, what is the concept of environmental justice and how does it relate to marginalized community?
Okay, environmental justice. So you have to be just to the environment, to be fair to environment, because environment, they are also living things. When we say environment, it involves the water, I mean the river, it involves also the sea, the air. Okay, so we have to make sure that fair treatment toward your environmental. That is the concept of environmental justice. And how does it relate to marginalized communities? Community, the society, we need to use. We are living in the environment. Okay, we cannot isolate. We cannot say that, oh, we don't use the river, we don't take clean air, right? So somehow we are interconnected. That's why the three pillars, people, planet, and profit, look at one by one. Okay, you to make sure that the community also they gain something from the environment. Okay, we cannot omit environment from our life. So I think environmental issue is an issue that need to be addressed by everybody. Every single people who live on earth. You cannot simply say that I don't care. In terms of the simplest way, where you you throw rubbish around outside your window of your car or your apartment, you have to be responsible. I think at the end of the day, my final word is that you have to develop mind developing or attitude, how to say. Okay, I give you an example. In the UK, when there is traffic light is green and then yellow and then red, right? So when they see the yellow, they will automatically ready to stop. So the road is empty. But not in Malaysia. If they see green, they go. If they see yellow, they still go. And if they see red, also they still go. That is the mentality of the people in that particular country, particular place. So you cannot achieve anything if you don't set here. Mindset. That's why at the end of my conclusion, I said mindset. Changing mindset, your attitude, your mindset. Yeah, your educated. You develop. Malaysia, for example, you want to be a developed country towards 2020, for example, past already. But the nation, the public is not developed at all. You can see on the road. On the road, if you are in the queue, you cannot go to other side. You have to follow your queue. That is what happened in the developed country. But it doesn't happen here. So how are we going to ensure that the community will adhere to the environmental issue? So environmental issue is an issue unless you are aware, the public, everybody. For example, if you want to throw rubbish in the river, if you don't do that, the river will be clean, right? But if one person do that at this part, another person do that tomorrow, another person do it the day after tomorrow, then there will be rubbish around in the sea, in the river, everywhere in your environment. So what the government can do? Is it to fine people? Yeah, maybe to some extent it's fine. You can fine people who throw rubbish to certain area. But another thing you can impose is to have a CCTV. How to say? The CCTV will follow your action. It's a movable CCTV. So if you're walking alone, the CCTV will look at you. So if you are throwing rubbish, they will capture your face and their image is very clear. Then you will get a summon. Do we have that in Malaysia? And do we are capable of having that in our villages? I don't think so. That is our challenge. The governments, the public sector. I think we can do it, but bit by bit. Okay? Until we start from now, we have to start somewhere. I think it's time that we start. Because somehow. So we have the awareness program. Every the representative of the parliament members, they have to of awareness program. Tell the people do this, do that. Fine the company, you can find the company because they have a lot of money because they are aiming for profit. But for public, the old people, the poor people, so you have to nicely talk to them. I think it can happen because we have one of this area in Kedah, Sungai Yan, Sungai Raga. They have this kind of very beautiful village. Everybody there, or the neighborhood, they look after their house, look after the surrounding. And they have this very nice river. Yeah, it can be done. But the mindset of the people need to be changed. The awareness need to be instilled. I think is my opinion. Thank you. Am I answering you, Tasnim?
Okay, thank you. I think commit for everyone, like this. Commit for everyone to environmental, like this, to care about the society, just not about the economic, just not about the money, the profit. I think that's okay, Doctor. I think it's the last question. Well, thanks, really informative session. Okay. Well, that end this session. Before closing the session, I will give a conclusion from the lecture delivered by Dr. Siti. Maybe the SDGs serve as a roadmap for governance, businesses, civil society organization, and individuals to work together to achieve a more sustainable and inclusive future for all. A sustainable society must be socially responsible, focusing on environmental protection and dynamic equilibrium in human and natural system. Finally, we have come to the end of today's lecture. I would like to thank you very much to Dr. Siti for sparing time to deliver such as an interesting lectures, and for all the participants for their active participation, and for reminding you all that we have the next session. I'm Fauzia Kumalasari. Sincerely apologies for the mistake I have probably made during this lecture. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much to our amazing moderator and lecturer, to Miss Fauzia and Dr. Siti for an insightful session. On behalf of the hosting committee, I would like to give a certificate of appreciation to our lecturer, Associate Professor Dr. Siti Zabaedah Binti Zaidin. Thank you, Dr. Siti, for attending and sharing to us in our session, Sustainability, Creating Shared Value, Public Sector Accounting. And this is the certificate, Doctor.
Right, thank you for the certificate. Thank you for Faculty of Economics and Business.
Yeah.
Thank you, Usu. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, the moderator. Thank you, the MC for today. And thank you for those who are working together to make this event successful. And I'm sorry that I cannot join you later. Inshallah, maybe later in the future.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Doctor. Yeah. And now we are going to take a picture together. To all participants, please turn on your camera. Okay, first slide. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Okay. Next slide. 3, 2, 1. Say cheese. Okay, thank you so much to all participants for your attention. And now we have reached the end of our agenda. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you've gained valuable insight and knowledge from today's lecture. We're genuinely appreciative of your active participation. We also want to extend our sincere apologies if any mistakes occurred, whether technical glitches, content-related issue, or any other aspect that didn't meet your expectation. We still have a series of lectures till Friday, so don't miss tomorrow lectures by Mr. Sambas Adekusuma, SMSI PhD AKCA from Universitas Sumatera Utara, Indonesia, and Dr. Datu Ari Ardiansyah Samsura, STMSC from Radboud University, Netherlands. Wow. And once again, thank you so much and see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Siti.
Sama-sama. Welcome. Thank you, Sati. Thank you, Sambas. Thank you, Fauzia. Thank you, Rina. Thank you. See you in Malaysia later.
Yeah, inshallah.